September 1961, 1 month after the construction of the Berlin Wall, and Cold War tensions have never been higher. The close proximity of West Germany to communist-controlled East Germany has been a source of constant incidents and territorial violations. Each month at least 2 NATO aircraft would stray across the border, but Soviet aircraft crossed into West Germany even more frequently. In one 4-week period in August to September 1961, there were 38 violations of West German airspace by Soviet pilots. Both sides scrambled aircraft to attempt to intercept the intruders, and there had been shooting incidents. Berlin was a special case. Divided into 4 occupation zones in 1945, British, American, French and Soviet, the city was deep inside East German territory. Only military forces and civil airliners of the victorious Western Allies were permitted to transit across East German territory, using 3 air corridors to reach West Berlin. In 1961, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev began to ramp up the tension, his aim to force the Western Allies out of West Berlin. Roads around West Berlin were torn up and barriers in place. Large Soviet forces stood ready to fight. Then the Berlin Wall went up. All agreements concerning West Berlin forbade any West German military aircraft from crossing East German territory to reach the city. The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, had been disbanded in 1946. A new Luftwaffe had been created for the West German Armed Forces, the Bundeswehr, in 1956, largely equipped with American aircraft. In 1956, the Luftwaffe had been equipped with the Republic F-84 Thunderstreak, a swept-wing turbojet fighter bomber. In 1960, the force had also received the Lockheed F-104 Starfighter, or Widowmaker, as it was known for its appalling safety record. On the 14th of September 1961, NATO held a military exercise called Checkmate. Jagdbombergeschwader 32, a Luftwaffe fighter-bomber wing stationed at Lechfeld near Augsburg, would send F-84F Thunderstreak jets on a triangular flight path from Würzburg to Leon and Memmingen, and then back to base. The unit was commanded by Oberstleutnant Siegfried Barth, who had been awarded the Knight's Cross in World War II. A pair of JG-32 Thunderstreaks flown by Feldwebel Peter Pfefferhorn and Stabsunteroffizier Hans Eberl took off from Lechfeld and started on the flight plan. However, Sergeant Pfefferhorn's magnetic compass malfunctioned with a deviation of 40 to 60 degrees. There was also a very strong westerly wind. Confused, the German pilots mistook Liège in Belgium for Rheims in France. NATO radar tracked the 2 Luftwaffe planes near Warburg, heading east towards the inner German border with East Germany. In the confusion, the pilots missed radio warnings from Central Control, warning them that they were about to violate East German airspace. The pair of Thunderstreaks sailed across the border, completely unawares, and kept going. At this point, the Soviet air defenses were alerted, and they began scrambling MiG-21s to try to intercept the intruders. When they were north of Leipzig, Sergeant Pfefferhorn issued a Mayday call that was picked up by French air traffic control at Tegel Airport in West Berlin, in the French sector. By now, a large force of Soviet MiG-21s was hot on their tail, trying to intercept them. French control at Tegel gave the lost planes permission to land at the airport. American controllers now became involved. The American control at Tempelhof Airport in West Berlin, the American sector, could see on his radar the numbers of Soviet fighters trailing the Thunderstreaks. He warned the Luftwaffe pilots not to try and make it back to West Germany, but to instead do as the French suggested and land in West Berlin. The Thunderstreaks successfully evaded the trailing MiGs by ducking into cloud cover and then landed safely at Tegel Airport. The Soviets immediately began complaining to the French, while the West German foreign minister issued an apology to the Soviet Union, as West Germany at this time officially did not recognize East Germany as a country. The Soviets' response was to threaten to shoot down any aircraft that violated East German airspace in the future. The 2 pilots, Pfefferhorn and Eberl, were both transferred to a ground unit and their flight status cancelled. Their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Barth, was relieved of his command. The problem was now the two Luftwaffe jets at Tegel. Hidden in hangars, a plan was hatched to fly them to West Germany in US Air Force colors, or another scheme was to disassemble the aircraft and have them flown out of Berlin in US transport planes. The French authorities decided in the end to simply make both of the planes disappear. Incredibly, the two completely airworthy F-84 Thunderstreaks were buried on Tegel Airport. They were only discovered during the airport's expansion in the late 1970s. It was a rather novel solution to an embarrassing Cold War fiasco. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also support my channel at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.